different.
Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you live just outside.
I like to think balding is just God's way of saying, now let's see you get laid.
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
What I'd really like to do is put the greatness of this man in perspective.
The hairloss community has a lot to be thankful for, having you as a spokesperson.
You mean you just call this guy up?
About life and about reality.
And now, America's #1 reality radio show for men. Live from Los Angeles, it's Spencer Coburn's The Bald Truth.
So I would say that this is a first for The Bald Truth. I am going live on the air with an ocular migraine. Now, for those of you who don't know what that is, essentially my field of vision looks like peripherally, like squiggly lines going up and down, up and down, up and down. Now, I get these rarely, but I had one yesterday and now I have one today. And I think it may be because I've had 2 conversations in 2 days with Joe Tillman on the phone.
I thought you were actually going to say The Thing.
Oh.
But it was me instead. Okay, got it. That's funny.
Gotta throw you under the bus every show at least once, dude.
I know.
Guys, the phone number 888-659-3727. No, it's not Joseph's fault that I have an ocular migraine and I can't see at this stage. It will get better throughout the broadcast, hopefully. If not, lucky I just re-upped my membership with my concierge, like ENT type of person. That's what old people have to do. Especially here in Los Angeles. You do not want to go to an ER here in Los Angeles. That is the last place you want to go. Unless maybe you're a gunshot victim, which is pretty, highly likely now in this environment.
I was going to say, yeah, it's high odds there.
Yeah. Dude, the crime here is absolutely insane. I was having a conversation with somebody today talking about the pandemic and what's been transpired here in Los Angeles. In Beverly Hills, in Century City, in West Hollywood, which is now a ghetto. I'm sorry, people who've invested their money in condos and homes in West Hollywood. That is not a place for people to walk at this stage. I am a New Yorker. I was born and raised in the 70s in what was then considered to be one of the most dangerous cities in the nation. I've never felt more unsafe as a man. And I was a kid then, as a man, not a small person either, as I do like walking the streets of WeHo, or even around here. It's weird. You park your car. Say you decide to park in the street at a meter here in Beverly Hills. There's somebody waiting right there at the meter, either asking you for money or you don't know if they're going to take a crap on your car.
And that's a very real possibility.
It's a very real possibility. There's no joke. It's unbelievable, really. Phone number is 888-659-3727. I think you titled the show, Who Can You Trust for Your Hair Transplant? Was that it?
Yes, it is.
Before I let you speak, I was contacted recently, and this has been happening for a long time, by someone who's considering going to a Bosley medical facility for their hair transplant. And then they go online and they do some research, and then everyone's like, do not go to Bosley because this, and this. Now, for those of you who don't know, when I started in this field, I was relentless on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
I went after these people like no one could imagine. I had no fear. I was using the butcher word. Patients were calling in and we were talking about their bad experiences. I was talking about scalp reductions and, the way that they operate as far as getting patients in the chair, and what I felt was complete misinformation, lying to the public about the surgery itself. That was over 20 years ago, 27 years ago to be exact.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you that based on several factors, they've evolved incredibly over the years. Ken Washenik at the helm over 25 years ago, telling me before he started that he was going to change things at Bosley, which he certainly did over the years. But in today's environment, right now, given the breadth of experience their physicians have, the fact that they're taking on like some of the older docs who may not want to be in practice for themselves anymore, but who are like top echelon docs, like Paul Rose, for instance, in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that they made the smart decision back before anyone else decided to do this, to hire PAs, people with actual medical credentials, to assist in surgeries and to help perform FUE, which was brilliant. I got to tell you, based in today's environment, if you're going to go to a turnkey guy who's a board-certified plastic surgeon with a neograft or some machine, or to a Bosley facility, it's a no-brainer. And the reason I say this, you brought this up last week. There are great doctors out there that, for some reason, had issues along their way, and those issues are still haunting them online.
Yes.
Some well-known, doctors, IHS members, non-IHS members, but good guys who are consistently doing better work than a lot of the people out there. So do not base your information on old history, because things change. Now, you don't see my name on a Bosley brochure. And again, I was the worst. I was their biggest critic. Dude, the fact that I survived that is amazing, actually.
It really is. It really
Guys,
is.
Call back. Hold on. This is a show. I got to do an open. I'll take your calls. 888-659-3727. We started the show. We have an entire board. Now everyone hung up. Sorry you don't want to listen, but this is important information. So I'm saying this with a completely evolved point of view based on my experience in this industry. I think it's unfortunate, they wanted to keep their name because that's the brand that they built for the last 50 years or whatever. It may not be serving them well because of the shit that you still see online. It's unbelievable to me. So guys, if you're asking about Bosley Medical in a chat room or whatever it is, you're not comparing apples to apples anymore. They are now competing with some of the worst offenders I've ever seen enter this field. And as far as complaints and stuff like that, we just don't get them anymore. And the number one, some of the worst complaints came from our IHS members. They're not complaining about Bosley doctors or Bosley facilities anymore. They're complaining about their facial plastic surgeon next door. I hear nothing from our guys about, and Bosley did it again. I saw another Bosley patient. Doesn't happen. So everyone's ideas have to evolve. Get off the fucking forums, people. You're not learning anything. In general. There's some information out there that could be, I think, if you understand how to decipher where and what's coming from where, you can learn some stuff.
I think the basics are worthwhile.
Yes.
But it's like, how many times can you read about, someone talking about bad lighting in photos before it doesn't matter anymore? Like, you move on from the basics, and then what I really
you look very
have
good
an
today,
issue with
Joseph.
now is all the conjecture. Thank you very much, Spencer. All the conjecture that's being bandied about by, whichever forum or platform that you're on. There's always one or two experts that everyone refers to as being the expert. And then when you look at what they're saying on, in their own posts or comments or whatever, there's about 40% truth and about 60% conjecture, simply because they have no clinical experience. They're very good at, looking at photos, but it kind of ends there. And that's where the internet experts with the air quotes around them becomes a problem. And that's why the forums are dangerous. Because a lot of, I'll say unintentional, for the most part, unintentional misinformation that leads people down the wrong path. A lot of bias in what people are presenting as factual information as well. It's something that they're repeating as a soundbite from the consultant that they used to hang out with, or even the doctor that they now hold up as being some sort of savior for their own case.
That reminds me of someone I know very well from the past.
Yeah.
And he's doing the show with me right now.
And sometimes they evolve because they're just so fucking smart to begin with.
But I remember the one conversation we had many years ago.
It's only inevitable.
Many years ago, you used to call the show, and and you decided to leave Hassan Wong. And when you tell me you're going independent, I was like, listen, dude, you need to forget everything you think you know about everyone else in this industry. You know what you know from what you've seen. You have to now look at everything and open your eyes to the reality, because you're seeing a lot of, first of all, you're seeing all the bad stuff, only the repair work, and you're getting information, especially from one guy, from a guy who thinks he fucking walks on water.
That kind of started to die down. That was really tempered several years before I left.
Just agree with me.
No,
go ahead.
No. We got to make it interesting. That died down several years before I left, simply because I started to see for myself what was going on. It's like, is FUE all that bad? I mean, it's like we're seeing the bad stuff coming in, but we're not seeing the good stuff. And every patient that's ever had FUE isn't coming to us for a repair job. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, look at what all these other clinics are putting out. These are good photos. They're legitimate photos. So what's wrong? Pick it apart. Can't do it. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a whole different story. That's the beginning of my awakening, if you will.
Jinx.
But I guess that actually kind of segues into this the subject of today's broadcast is
I know it does. I'm a radio guy. That's what I do.
And the point of that is, even people that think that they know what they're talking about and have the best intentions, they may not know what they're talking about. And I'll go and use myself as a prime example.
Please do.
To a degree, because for the most part, I was right. It's just my timing wasn't 100%. It took me a while to understand why I was wrong about FUE. And it's funny. I'm still criticized by some people online. Oh, well, now he likes FUE because some of the doctors he works with offer it.
Now because he's making the money, the big bucks, he all of a sudden changed his mind.
All of the doctors I work with offer it. All of them do. But that's not even the point. And this is something I'm proud of, is things that I've talked about in the past, they still stand today. And the points where I may have changed my mind on something, I was actually public about it. I talked about it, admitted my fault, or admitted my lack of judgment or misjudgment or however you want to label it, and moved forward long before I went independent. Like this FUE thing. Like I've talked about this for years. It was like 2009, 2010. I stopped criticizing it. And people can't go online and say, oh, Joe was dead set against FUE until he started working with doctors that offered it. No, that's not true.
No, it's not true.
And no one can find that online to dispute it.
Yeah, listen, all these guys, you gotta laugh at these online experts. You just do. You have to take everything with a grain of salt. There's a small percentage of people that look at these guys and agree with them, and thumbs up stuff or post stuff in message form. It's such a small percentage of guys. Most people are smart, or smarter, I would say.
No, I know.
And they see things for what they are. Look, I never forget. I'm at this conference, right? I think it was FU Europe, and Paul Rose, who I have a nice relationship with, gets up on the podium when they were talking about all the damage being caused by FU in Europe and in Brazil and Turkey and stuff like that. And I'm on this dais, and he turns to me and says, "Well, Spencer, you basically said that FUE was superior, and that's why all of this started." And I'm like, I mean, first of all, I like the guy, but I would say by the time I was done with him at that conference behind that mic, it was like, "Senator," it was one of those things. And I went in there and I systematically dismantled him. We apologized publicly, right there. He's like, "Oh, I didn't know that." I'm like, "How can you not know the history of FUE?" And I said, "This just highlights that all you guys are working off hearsay and gossip."
Yeah.
Yes, I introduced FUE to everybody in the U.S. and in Europe. Yes, I believe there's a great ancillary procedure. I had no idea there were going to be a handful of sociopaths who were going to take this incredible, difficult, and nuanced procedure and start marketing it as scarless surgery and one size fits all, and that this is the superior procedure. I had no idea that there would be sociopaths out there who wanted to put a chokehold on this so they can get the biggest lion's share, the biggest market share, and promote the fact that, they're doing this cutting-edge technique when no one else is doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you guys are going to fuck people up. And I said that publicly. And you know what? They did.
Here we are. Yeah.
And here we are. So I find it fascinating now when people are like, "Oh, Coburn is anti-FUE" on Instagram. When I'm saying, I'm anti-bad hair transplant surgery. I am anti, let's perform a 6,000 graft case on a kid who's not even he's not even a candidate for surgery. And B, if he was a candidate for surgery, if everything works out, he's one and done, and that's a short-term case. He may be happy for a few years. Maybe. You are fucking him up for life. Excuse me, YouTube. For life. So I'm saying that, and I'm getting hate from, these consumers out there, consumers of these large, inexpensive hair transplants. So there's this confirmation bias coming from them.
Yeah,
and this one guy actually said that I'm like I'm an old man, essentially. I have old school thinking. This is the future. I hate to break the news to you, buddy, but this is here because I helped to create this. Sadly, this fucking monster. It's unbelievable. So yeah, people who are on the forums who are in their 20s and 30s and even 40s, they don't even know first of all, they're not working in the industry. They have no clue. Zero. They could have had 3 hair transplants. They still know very little. I got it. I got it, Joseph. I got it. Sorry. Apologize. I'm sorry. Jesus. But look, you guys do what you want to do. This is real surgery. Most people have their own mental and, I guess, biological limitations. What's the word I'm looking for? Physiological limitations when it comes to hair transplant surgery. They have to really understand what they're getting into. Yes, you can have a great hair transplant like Joseph. You can look terrific. It has to be well planned and well executed. Otherwise, you are effed. That is the truth. What do you want from me? I could easily just go out there and sell hair transplants to all of you suckers. Easy pickings. Easy.
So
that's why I brought up the Bosley thing. Sorry, that's why I brought up the Bosley thing. I'm like, I can't even believe they're still talking about this. They have no idea how fortunate they would be to find one of their doctors, go to one of their doctors over some plastic surgeon who's gotten a neograft and having like per diem techs do your surgery. That's the market we're in.
Or that is offering surgery for the first time on Monday because he did a weekend seminar.
Right.
That's also not uncommon. But I think that who do you trust? Let's get down to the nuts and bolts on this. And this is something that people can chew on as actually being the subject of the show. Who do you trust in hair transplant surgery? And that is assuming that we're talking about clinics, doctors, so-and-so. You don't trust any of them. You don't trust any of them. Go into any surgery or consultation and then the process and the surgery with a healthy bit of skepticism. And look out for some red flags. And full disclosure, there might be some clinics I work with that do this. I try to filter the clinics I work with. I actually do. I haven't really talked about this very much, but I actually do secret shopping sometimes randomly with clinics I work with just to see how they're conducting themselves with actual patients. And so far, I've not run into this, but if they're trying to make surgery sound like it's a cakewalk, that's kind of a bad thing to do. It's kind of a red flag. And I think that if you're having a consultation with a clinic, if they're trying to make it seem like, oh, it's easy, there's no problems, nothing to worry about, I think that you should think twice about having surgery. I'm not saying that they're a bad clinic, but when a clinic talks about surgery like this, maybe step back and ask yourself, well, okay, is this a realistic way to talk about it? It's not. Because this easy procedure that they do every day, day in and day out, hopefully, what if it doesn't work out? What if you're that one guy? And they say, oh, well, we've never had any problems. Okay, well, let's take them at their word. What if you are that one guy? What are they going to do? How are they going to help you? This goes back to my first video ever. What are you going to do if your hair transplant doesn't work out? Don't have a hair transplant. Episode number 1. But it goes further than that. I mean, even if a clinic does say all the right things and present the right kind of attitude, like, you know what, this is an important procedure. You do need to think it through. We hope you've been on medication for, a year and it's stabilized and you're feeling good and, your family history is looking strong and you got realistic expectations. You got great donor hair. You got a very defined and well-managed area of loss that we can really address properly. But you understand that, hey, this is surgery. It is a practice of medicine and it can fail. And you understand that, the only guarantee that we can give you is the guarantee of our best effort. If they say all of that, which would be ideal, can you still trust that they'll do the right thing? I don't know. I don't think that I don't think it's a good idea to go into any surgery with a 100% feeling of trust. Question everything. On the more obvious side of things, you've got the situation of people that are too pushy, people that are giving you just even a bad feeling about your experience so far. I'm talking about the consultation or just the interaction. I think that those are the things that you obviously need to look out for. But once you get past that, if you find a clinic that seems like they're legit and they've got the right endorsements, they've got the right before and after photos, they've got they say all the right things, you should still question everything. So the quick answer is don't trust anyone. Trust yourself. If you are open to being critical of everything that you hear. I hope that made sense. It's kind of rambling. Spencer?
Not really. I was just about to post a story of you rambling. So Joe's on one again.
It doesn't make sense, or I'm
Dude,
not rambling.
It makes total sense, and you are not rambling.
Okay.
You are a pro, my man.
Dr. Ken Anderson in the room. Welcome.
You are a pro. And I'll tell you how much of a pro I am. I'm currently posting a story, texting, talking to you, trying to make believe I'm paying attention. You can learn from this, Joe. You should watch.
Sorry, what?
There you go. 888-659-3727 is the toll-free number. We are live from Los Angeles. Joe Tillman, spitting the truth. Telling it like it is. And again, guys, I am telling you, if you're getting your information from these message groups and these, whatever social media it is, if you don't know who these experts are, there's a good chance you are not getting the correct information. You're getting outdated information, you're getting biased information, you're getting just hearsay and regurgitated bullshit. That's just the reality of it. What do you want me to do? I'm not hating. Let them do whatever they want to do. But in the long run, it may not be in your best interest. You have to do your own due diligence. And that's what this broadcast is about. Let's take a phone call.
Let's do it.
Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from? Hey, caller.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi there. My name is Alex. I'm calling from Orange County. I recently saw a post on Instagram, and you had mentioned something about creatine, and I was kind of curious what your thoughts are on that. I wanted to start, bodybuilding, and I just got recently a hair transplant, so I wasn't sure if it's going to affect it at all. If you recommend not going with it, or is it different for each person?
Well, if you saw my post, what do you think my thoughts are?
It sounded like it wasn't a good thing, but I wasn't sure because I guess I'm kind of confused. It seems like a case by case. Like some people have bad effects from it, some people don't have effects from it, and you're.
Oh, you're right. You're right,
curious.
and I didn't mean to bust your balls.
What you're supposed to say, Alex, is that Alex. What you're supposed to say is it sounds like you're a hater. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. You hate creatine. Listen,
Cobra and hating on creatine, man.
Listen, all I can say is this. Whatever studies are out there when it comes to bodybuilding and creatine, you have to think about the source of those studies and why would anybody, especially an academic, really take the time to study creatine as it pertains to hair loss. There's really only one reason, and that reason is, even though people think, well, they have to disclose their conflict of interest, that's not the way the world works, and that's not the way these studies work and these journals work. There are all different levels of journals out there, from mediocre, easy to get published journals to the Lancet, which that could be questionable as well, depending on who you're talking to. Some of these journals a lot of these journals now are sponsored by pharmaceutical companies or the industry itself. So people have to watch their P's and Q's. There's certain things that are pushed through for certain reasons. Now, the reason I'm saying this is, anecdotally, doing this for almost 30 years, there have been hundreds, and this is not hyperbole, it may be more than that, I don't know, but at least callers to my broadcast, whether it was on the radio or in satellite radio or here, who have had issues with creatine and hair loss. That these guys took it, they were doing fine, either they were doing fine on medication or they just had a hair transplant or whatever, and all of a sudden they go through a telogen effluvium, and they want to know if it's the creatine. Well, the question is, what have you changed in your life in the last 3 or 4 months before you started to notice this shed? And the answer was they started to take creatine. So I would talk about that, and I kind of felt when I was younger and I was going through the initial throes of hair loss and I was taking all that shit, that creatine, in my case, definitely exacerbated my loss. There's no doubt about it. So I just kind of sensed that myself. I was like, let me cut back on this stuff. I mean, how much of a god do I want to look like anyway, right? I'm just kidding. So based on all of my experience in the years of anecdotal data, there's no such thing as anecdotal evidence. Everyone says anecdotal evidence. It's anecdotal data. I would say that, yeah, it could benefit your gains, and it can make you appear bigger. You know, you may be holding a little bit of water in your muscles, but I don't think that the potential risk outweighs the benefits outweigh the potential risk if you're really susceptible to androgenetic alopecia. And if you just had a hair transplant, you are susceptible. So how much of a gain do you think is going to be to your workouts and to your physique?
A good question.
And to your mental well-being.
Right.
You know, I want to get on TRT. I'm 58 years old. I know what I can feel like and look like if I put a little bit more testosterone in my body.
You're almost 60. You're not 58.
Right. I'm a year and a half away from 60. And I get in the gym, and I'm strong, and I feel good. But it's like, oh, you're good for your age. If I just took a little TRT, I mean, just up my levels, not even to peak youthful levels, just a little higher, my improvements would be exponential. But I'm concerned about my hair, so I don't do it. Now, eventually I probably will if I don't want to completely fall apart. But that's how serious I am about all this stuff. And I believe that just at least according to all the people who have complained about it, there seems to be a strong correlation between creatine supplementation and exacerbating your hair loss. I'm not going to say the same holds true for eating a lot of meat and getting creatine from your food.
Got it.
So I know it was a long way to answer your question, but I just wanted to be thorough.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I was wondering because
sorry, Alex. As a counterpoint, Dr. Ken Anderson in the chat room says there was a study published in the Journal of International Society of Sports and Nutrition in 2022. They reported, quote, while it was possible that creatine supplementation upregulated 5-alpha reductase activity in these males, no study has reported hair loss, unquote. And then contradictory to that, we got Dr. Dan McGrath also in the room. Thank you for joining us, Doc. A lot of my patients notice hair loss with creatine. So
now, what was the organization? What was the paper? I might be looking at the chat.
That was the International Society of Sports Nutrition.
Okay, that's a trade organization. That's not even a medical society. They basically do online certification. Now, how do I know this? I'm kind of, getting involved in the journal business myself, and I've been involved in it for a while, kind of like on the periphery. So I have a really good understanding of how these things are published, who's publishing them, what are the real legit journals. And all you need is an ISSN number, one volume, and one journal published of that volume. And you can get an ISSN number, and then you can be picked up by PubMed. It's as easy as that. So I'm pretty sure that this is a trade organization, not actually a medical society that Dr. Anderson is referencing. But yeah, I mean, it's in their best interest to say creatine's great. Why not?
Yeah, makes sense.
Just my opinion. All right, brother. Anything else?
Oh, yeah. I was going to follow up with that and ask, because I am taking finasteride and, minoxidil and all of that. Have you seen or heard anything about that counteracting creatine?
You really want to take this shit, don't you?
I don't. I'm just.
Do you think if I hope really hard,
Yeah.
it'll work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I squeeze my eyes really tight and just really wish it to not harm me, do you think it'll still be able to do this?
Look. With that
I
said,
get
there's
it.
plenty
I
of
get it.
guys who take creatine who are susceptible, who are dealing with androgenic alopecia, and they don't have any adverse effect. They don't notice any increase in shedding. I just hear what I hear, and I know it's all anecdotal. But to my knowledge, there's no legitimate studies to the contrary.
Got it.
I will give my personal experience on creatine. Back when I was, I know you think it was recently, but back when I was not powerlifting, but strength training and bodybuilding, I know it looks like it was recently. I was taking creatine and I didn't notice anything with my transplanted hair. Like everything on top of my head's transplanted. I didn't notice any sort of effect on that. If that helps you with your decision to go ahead and try it, I don't know. But that's my. And I didn't take it for a very long time, maybe 6 months.
Well, I was on it for a long time, and I can tell you that, if you just take a look at my elaborate comb over, you can see that I'm trying to save every effing hair on my head, and I'm not taking a chance. I'd rather be a little softer. I know if I just took if I supplemented with creatine, just that alone would fill, my muscles. I would have just that much more of a pump walking around every day. Fill out a shirt a little bit more. That's all it would take. I'm not taking a chance.
While I know if I just have 2 more pieces of pizza a night, my shirt will fill out more too.
Well, that's true. So, I actually ate some bloaty food last night, so I'm a little bit more filled out now. But yeah, I mean, if I have a couple of drinks and a pizza, I look pretty buff. But so does my face.
Yeah, your face looks like you just worked out.
Yeah. All right, brother. I hope that helped.
If you agree with that one, hit the like button.
Yeah. Oh, that's going to leave a mark. I hope that helped. And again, you do what you want to do. Again, I'm not a doctor, but I'm basing my advice on almost 30 years of experience dealing with and speaking with hair loss sufferers, and a lot of them, more than now than ever, were into fitness and bodybuilding and shit like that.
Yeah, it definitely does help, guys. Thanks so much for your input.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
All right, good luck with it.
I don't know what's going on, Joe. My camera angle is really off. I'm going to put the camera on you and see if I could fix this. 888-659-3727 is the toll-free number. Guys, call in. Dr. Anderson, I didn't mean to, I'm not even reading the chat. I didn't mean to contradict you. I think that was good that you brought that study out. I just happen to be familiar with these organizations and how journals are essentially picked up by PubMed. And I would not consider that to be an actual journal. It's like a trade paper. Nothing wrong with that.
He's always fine with counterpoints. Like he likes to bring up his point. He's perfectly fine with counterpoints from others. So I'm sure he's got no problem with that. I would like to remind everyone. I think it was On Call in the chat room. He said, "Hey, where are the likes on the episode?" I agree. Where are the likes on the episode, people? Love to see some likes climbing. We're at 12. We should get some more. And I'd like to remind people, if you are not subscribed to the channel, you should subscribe. I would hope that you'd subscribe to support what we're doing. And, of course, ring the bell for all notifications. Because I'm actually going to start going live more often on the main event. And thank you to those of you. I've not had a chance to do the shout out. Thanks for tuning in on New Year's Eve. I actually fired up the cam in the live stream at, I think it was like 8 p.m. on New Year's Eve, and took some questions using the new phone system. So I appreciate everyone for tuning in on that. That one was kind of fun. Let's see. Any questions in the chat room? I don't see anything. And Spencer can't answer the phones if there are any phone calls. So that kind of makes it difficult. Dr. McGrath. Yeah, I know. I'm jealous of Ken's hair, too. Someone was asking you about any updates on exosomes out of your clinic. Feel free to call us and answer that question. I think it'd be nice to for the group to hear from you directly, and maybe Spencer can hit the phones and pipe you in. He doesn't have to be involved. Just be me and you talking. And we'll see what's going on. Hampton Hudson says, could the hair loss be psychosomatic, referring to the creatine in the same way a lot of finasteride sides and psychologically manifested? I don't think it would be psychosomatic if it's not expected. But if you go into it expecting it...
That's an excellent point. Most people are not expecting it. They're looking at these studies and listening to these fitness people saying that it's bullshit that creatine causes hair loss. And they're not expecting it to happen. And then all of a sudden, like our bodybuilder friend, I forgot his name, who called in a couple of weeks ago, who tried it several times, was not expecting it originally, can't tolerate it.
Mm-hmm.
He starts to go through a massive telogen effluvium. It's just the reality. What are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
And I'm not here to fight anybody online about this. I have no skin in the game. I'm not selling, anti-creatine propaganda online. I have no ebooks about not taking, dangers of creatine. What's in it for me?
That'd be a good book.
Yeah, but really, what's in it for me? When I think about all these people who have been fighting me online for years, what's in it for me to tell you guys that surgery is a last resort? What's in it for me? What's in it for me not to have online consultations on my resources for the doctors that I work with? What's in it for me? What do you think these people have online resources, these websites, online resources, online consultation forms? So they can show their doctors that they're getting them leads. So they can continue to get paid. What's in it for me not to do that? It's in my best interest to make it easy for consumers to buy surgery. Mm-hmm. And I tell them that surgery is a last resort. What is in it for me? So when you guys bitch out there about what we do, I want you to really think about it. It's a lot easier to sell anything in this industry than to tell the truth. 888-659-3727. How's my comb over today? Pretty good. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
It's Morty from Brooklyn.
Morty from Brooklyn. How are you, man?
Who?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. Why don't you roll over and tap Dr. Cole and say hi?
Oh, damn, bro. That's cold. Oh, man.
Wake him up. It's showtime, dude.
You're terrible.
Get him a cup of coffee first.
Oh, Jesus.
What's happening?
Pot on.
Oh, my God.
Honey, the show's on.
Oh, Jesus. Stop it, you two. God almighty. I'm going to have to start saying things. You're going to have to make recordings and put them on your freaking social media, mate. Cursing at you and stuff.
Liar, liar, liar. Here you go, liar, liar.
Oh, my God. Oh, Lord. Well, you guys are...
Yeah.
So I was gonna say, did I wish you guys a Happy New Year yet? I don't even remember whether I did or not. So
did you ever what?
If I didn't, Happy New Year. If I'd wished you guys a Happy New Year yet.
Well, you wished me a Happy New Year online, so I appreciate
privately.
that. Happy and healthy.
Yes. Yes. And I'm going to wish all the listeners as well a happy 2024. Extremely important listeners, listen to these two gentlemen. They will make sure that you don't make any horrible, terrible mistakes, because Lord knows there's so many different ways that you can make mistakes.
No. Don't say that.
You still may make a mistake. We can't make sure of anything.
That's true. That's true.
People make mistakes all the time and they listen to us, but they don't listen to us. They still do what they want to do.
Well, that's
like Creatine Boy from Orange County. He's still going to take creatine. He's dying to take it.
He's like, well, if I go full vegetarian, can I take the creatine?
Oh, my Lord. It's funny. You talk about creatine, boy. It's talking to our mutual friend Hampton
Alex, that
about
was his
creatine.
name, Alex.
Yeah. And I was just reminded me of a conversation that I had with our mutual friend Hampton about creatine, and he's definitely a creatine boy. And I'm just like, dude, you went through all this hell to get all of this, to get your hair back. And now you're going to go ahead and you're going to take something which there is, I wouldn't say ample evidence, but there's enough evidence there for you to think twice about it, And, especially if you're a young man, and so you've got a lot of potential for loss, you don't want to do that to yourself unless you don't care about your hair, in which case, why are you getting a transplant, Dude,
look, I got out of the shower this morning. I have this really long, full body mirror,
We don't need to hear that.
As soon as I get out of the shower. Sorry. And so you can't avoid looking at yourself. I'm looking at myself, and I keep having to say, I mean, you know what? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I know, but I know what I could be. I know with just even with creatine, it's a little bit of supplementation, I would be that much better. And with TRT, with the right doctor, I would be like a ridiculous old man, like RFK Jr.
You're already a ridiculous old man.
That's true. Well said. That's going to sting. But yeah, I mean, so you have to me, it's like, well, you know what? I'm not walking around naked most of the time, and I much prefer to try to maintain the hair that I have right now. That's the choice that I make.
You mean your apartment or just in general outside?
Well, I mean, when I get outside, even down at the bar with, the people who are here, I wear a robe. Okay?
Mostly. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Got it. I'm like Rodney Dangerfield around here. I walk around here. I am the Rodney Dangerfield of radio. I never got any respect.
Well, we respect you a lot, Spencer, and I respect Joe a lot as well. You guys should demand respect because you deserve respect. I mean, you're the most respectable voice in the hair loss industry, mostly because you as you mentioned before my call, you don't stand to gain for using that respect to pump up things which are of questionable value. And it's really important. We need voices like yours around to make sure.
But if we start demanding anything, it's just one more thing that people say. See, they're prima donnas. They're demanding things now.
And also tell that to my IHS members. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Present company excluded guys are in the chat room. But, even the guys that have been working with us and that have been supporting this message for 20 years still don't fully understand what we do. And that is, it's like it's an uphill. I've given up for the most part for some guys. I can't say this, and I'm not just saying this because they're in the room, or am I? But I'm not just saying this because they're in the room. Actually, Ken Anderson said something to me, I think it was yesterday, that, it was very... I really appreciate it. And he said that he actually always appreciated being a part of what we do and being a part of the IHS. And Dan McGrath, at one point, I think he stuck up for me in a nasty chat room, basically saying he doesn't envy my position of having to kind of essentially walk this tightrope. And I'm out there, fighting the good fight. And it's a difficult position to be in. So, Dan, don't think I didn't see that. I filed that one away, and I appreciate it.
Cool.
So go ahead, buddy.
Anyway, I really don't have too much to add. The only thing, there's just something that I keep meaning to ask every time I call, but it always slips my mind. And it has to do with the availability of oral minoxidil in the 2.5 milligram size. It seems that it's become very difficult to get. I've had to switch my prescription to 10 milligram tablets and quarter it because the 2.5 milligram tablet are like hen's teeth. And
why don't you get it? Why don't you get it from a compounding pharmacy?
Well, because I usually go to CVS and I get it from them, and it seems to be doing what it's supposed to be doing. It's just like I said, it was something that I thought I'd mention. I was just wondering if you guys had heard something similar, because oral minoxidil has become so popular that it seems to me anyway to be difficult to get from regular pharmacies.
Well, there's definitely a shortage, and it all started with the article in the New York Times. What was it, a year and a half ago, something like that?
There's more than that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you have the correct deets, Morty. So yeah. But I would say there's a lot of people, there's a lot of companies now that are compounding it. They're making it into capsules. You know, I'd say in general, the generics when it comes to oral minoxidil seem to be relatively consistent. For whatever reason, I don't know why that drug seems to be more consistent than finasteride, but it is.
Probably just an older drug and less complicated to manufacture. I suspect. I had a guess.
Well, that would be a very quasi-educated guess, but maybe.
Yeah.
I have no idea, really. I can't even tell you why that is. But it seems like
It's
across the board.
logical.
Yeah, very logical. But I think, at least across the board, from what we're hearing, there doesn't seem to be any major differences in side effect profiles from generic to generic. It all seems to be relatively effective. So I would much rather, I'd feel a lot safer going generic that route than with a lot of generic finasteride out there. Not saying there's not good generic finasteride. It exists. So yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah. I'm still on brand myself, thanks to you guys. So, and I'm taking I'm quartering the tablet as I always have been. And yes, it gets a little pricey. You know, it's funny. Speaking of pricing, I was just watching this news story that apparently Florida is allowing import of drugs from Canada now, as opposed to other states which don't allow it. So pretty interesting to see what happens with the prices there. So.
I was going to let Joe respond to that, but he's distracted again. I don't even know what I'm going to do with this guy. Do I bring on one of my doctors as a co-host? What do I do?
Uh-oh.
I got plenty of stuff going on. I'm juggling some stuff.
Oh, by the way, I am sorry, Joe. I wanted to say that I caught the tail end of your New Year's Eve broadcast, and I unfortunately couldn't make it into call. But it was pretty cool that you did that.
I want you to know. Thank you. I want you to know I was upset because I did actually go on the air with the specific intention of hearing your voice calling in, and you failed me.
You know why I was upset?
Oh, damn.
I wasn't even told that he was doing this. He didn't text me and say, "Hey, I'm about to go on the air." He was like, "I'm doing this without Coburn. Let's see how well I can do."
I was like, I'm kind of bored today. It's like New Year's Eve. There's not a damn thing to do. I'm feeling kind of antsy. I think I'll just fire up the live stream. It worked out pretty good. I also wanted to test my phone system again. And this phone system rocks, I got to tell you. Really, really enjoying it.
Well, I watched a little bit of it on demand, and I was taking notes, Joe. So good job.
Thank you. Thank you. And Carolina in the chat room.
No, Morty, you don't hang up on us. We hang up on you, brother.
Oh, okay.
Morty, listen, thank you so much, man. Happy New Year. It's always good to hear from you. Please give John a hug for me.
Oh, jeez.
And say hi to Nick.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, Lord. Talk to you guys later.
Just don't go hunting.
Yeah, take it easy.
Take care.
Bye. Phone number 888-659-3727. We are live. I'm in Los Angeles. Joe Tillman is in Vancouver, British Columbia, with his new upgraded lighting. Looking good.
Thank you.
By the way, Joseph, let's take a phone call. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, hi. Are you able to hear me?
Yes. Are you able to hear us?
Yes.
Yes. I'm so glad. I've been watching your podcast for like over a year, 2 years. I sent it to all my friends.
Thank you.
So I am actually 40 plus guy. I've been, my dad is bald. I don't know what to say. Actually, I had a lot of questions, but now since I'm connected, I kind of all over the place. But so So I'm actually wanted to get. I'm normal 5. I'm normal 5, and I talked to Dr. Pradeep Sehti, and I wanted to go there and get my hair transplant done. I'm making arrangements for February. But my only question or my concern was, like, I have a not so much thick of a donor area, and I did talk to Dr. Pradeep Sehti. He was very comfortable or confident that, he can extract more grafts from my donor area. Although I think it's very kind of thin. So I was confused between getting a FUT versus FUE. I know I hear you guys a lot. I could not find a great, FUT doctor. Of course, my budget is not so great that, I can get it done in the States. So what do you guys think about it? And I know you're not seeing my my scalp or anything. So in general, I'm on finasteride and minoxidil, oral minoxidil 2.5. Over a year now. I didn't get too much of hair back, but it definitely stopped shredding.
Okay.
Well,
that's important.
Yeah, I appreciate all that information. I'm going to let Joe take a shot at this, and then maybe I'll chime in if he doesn't fulfill my expectations.
First off, caller, what's your name?
My name is Adi.
Hello? Adi? How do you spell it?
ADI.
And can we have your social security number, please?
I actually am writing this down because I'm taking notes for the timestamps in the description for after the show, which everyone keeps asking me for. So you're welcome, everyone.
I appreciate that too.
Okay, so Addie, that's a good question. You're talking about, to summarize, you're asking about your donor area. You feel like it's a little bit thinner than what you think it could be or should be. But Dr. Sehti has said that he feels comfortable with the number of grafts that he's assessed for your case. Does that summarize basically what the issue is?
Yep.
Okay. And you want to know what we think about that. Well, first off, Dr. Pradeep Sehti, very good at what he does. And he has a talent for, or I'll say the clinic itself has a talent for addressing donor areas of all types that I've seen, that I've observed through my own research and constantly looking at what they're doing. Like I said before, I don't know if you caught the beginning of the show, but I was talking about the title of today's episode, Who Do You Trust? And when I was addressing that at the top of the hour, I was talking about how you really shouldn't trust anyone except yourself. Trust your gut, question everything, and you calling us and asking about someone that is a member of both of our organizations, I think exhibits that type of approach. And so I'm glad that you're doing that. Obviously Dr. Sehti has a phenomenal reputation, but no one is above questioning. And so I think everyone listening to this is important. This is an important call. And I think that Dr. Sehti, he would appreciate you asking this as well. And he probably expressed a little bit of understanding when you questioned him about the estimate. But I think that based on what I've seen, I've not seen cases where it looks like he's gone too aggressive. Like it may look like it, at first, as far as the immediate post-op shots, where it's like, wow, that's a lot of extractions. But in the end, I don't see these issues manifesting as problems once everything has healed up and all the, everything's grown back. It seems to work out. So, I feel good about his assessments, but it doesn't mean that every assessment that he makes is without fault. So if you personally feel that maybe it's a bit too much hair, maybe talk to him about reducing the number. You said you're Norwood 5. So is he trying to do all of the all of the area of loss in one shot, or is he breaking up into one surgery for the front and one surgery for the back?
No, I think we are going ahead with like 4,500 grafts or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe ask him if it's. Yeah, maybe ask him if it feels okay with doing a smaller session just for the front, and maybe not try to throw everything at your hair loss in one shot, and say, look, I appreciate your position, I appreciate your confidence, but maybe I'd feel better doing just one session for the front, see how that works out. My donor hair will still be there for a second surgery, so how's that approach? I don't see anything wrong with that. You're preserving more donor hair, less likelihood of, taking, and I don't want to say taking too much, but I think it would maybe make you feel more comfortable knowing that you're not going for such a large session if you personally feel like your donor is kind of weak. Does that make sense?
Yep, that totally makes. I think he's extracting some of my beard hair as well. I think probably not too much, but some of probably. I should have some notes. Probably it's under 800 beard grafts. So, or actually close to 1,000. Sorry, I think it's 1,000.
Okay, and you said the overall estimate was for 4,500 grafts.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's actually that's more reasonable, I think. Where if he gets 1,000 out of your beard, then it means 3,500 out of your traditional donor area, your scalp. That's a safer number for most people. But still, talk to him about that and see what he thinks. It isn't necessary to go for everything in one shot. Maybe it makes sense. Like, I don't know. This is all sight unseen. I've never seen you before. But based on how I know he operates and just, my general experience, I think that any case where you feel like maybe it's too much for your own comfort level, it's incumbent upon you to say, hey, can we do a smaller session? Let's break it up into 2 sessions. Yes, it may cost more, but you can make more money. You can't make more hair, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So
that's great.
Joe has spoken.
I'm really glad to hear from you guys.
Whatever he said, I agree. I'm going to read you guys something funny while I have you. Actually, I could let the caller go, but I do think that Joe's advice is good. Believe it or not, I was listening to most of it. And less is always more, especially if you can get away with it. But I do, now that you explained that he's going to be taking some from your beard as well. And one thing I don't think Joe asked, maybe he did, is Dr. Sehti actually performing the surgery?
Yes, I was actually very, I wanted him to do a surgery. Actually, my cousin also went to that clinic. He has great things to say. He went like 2 years ago. I referred him, actually. He got done by Dr. Erica. She was great, and it turned out to be wonderful, actually. His hair looks better, even better than before, I would say.
Well, that's what we hope, yeah.
Well, listen, man, I wish you the best of luck. I think you're in good hands. I think you understand what you're getting involved in. And let us know how it works out.
Sounds good, sir. Really appreciate what you're doing. It means a lot for a lot of people. Really, really thank you so much. And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Thank you for that.
Thank you,
Take
Eddie.
care.
Happy New Year. Bye-bye. Don't forget to like the broadcast. Hit the like button. Thank you.
Sure, we'll do it. Thank you.
So I just got a message from a guy. I haven't accepted it, but maybe I will. He's a hair transplant surgeon in Turkey. Been performing hair transplants since 2016, and this is the message. I am going to unfollow you because you are manipulating people. I see you are against to Turkey. I'm following you a couple of months around the world. There are too many bad low-quality doctors. I agree in Turkey there are too many butchers in Turkey. And all you are doing is choosing especially from Turkey, it's not fair. Well, here's a response to this. Sadly, it seems that Turkey has become the hair transplant capital of the world. And I say sadly because there are some really excellent doctors and surgeons in Turkey who are fighting the good fight to somehow help patients. Those who are part of what we do in the IHRS appreciate my work and support my work. Now, if you actually look through my Instagram doc, his name is Emery, by the way. I'm not going to get the last name out. You will notice that what are there, 5 posts in total? I just spit on my mic about, the Turkish hair transplant market. And why is that? Because I'm either remixing somebody else's disaster or remixing a doctor who's repairing somebody who happened to go to Turkey. But I make it very clear that here in the U.S., the industry is completely fallen apart. The possibility of getting a good hair transplant here in the U.S. has diminished to almost, you got like a 10% chance if you are lucky. So I'm not picking on Turkey. I actually support some of the best Turkish hair transplant surgeons in the world. Mm-hmm. Period. You're just in a very dangerous market. Now, if you're any good and you want to be a part of what we do, terrific. But nobody who is actually doing good work, who's in the hair transplant field, who happens to be doing hair transplants in Turkey or who's Turkish, would think the way that you're thinking. So maybe you need to up your game. Feel free to apply to the IHRS, and, you won't be so upset about us telling the truth about people getting effed up in this market. And sadly, the videos that I posted, today's was by Dr. Ted Min. How do I pronounce his name?
Milne.
Milne.
M-I-L-N. Milne.
Milne. Sorry, Ted. Jesus. He happened to say this patient came back from Turkey. What do you want me to do? Should I blank out his voice and not put the fact that this is a Turkish hair transplant? And that this is not the status quo? Go ahead.
Maybe you should unfollow everyone that's not in Turkey, because everyone outside of Turkey is saying, well, this patient came from Turkey.
Yeah.
That's just the way it works. Come on. What do you want us to do? There's like 1,000 hair transplant clinics, quote unquote, in Turkey. Like almost 1,000 in Istanbul, actually.
And he says he's unfollowing me, but he's still following me.
Well, you know what that means. I'm hoping you'll tell me.
He likes my content.
That's exactly. That's
he likes to look at me.
He likes your content. Yes, he likes. Well, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe I'll be nice enough to write this guy back. He is in the industry, and he's definitely misguided. But manipulating people. What the fuck does that mean?
See, he's got your number, Coburn. Damn you, Coburn! You're manipulating people.
Look, if I want to start a Turkish hair transplant organization, I could have 400 members easily and crush it.
Even the hairdresser with the nails and the hooker heels.
Everybody's invited. And they'll all contact me with checks in hand. So what's my motivation to manipulate people not to go to Turkey? Go to Turkey. There are great hair transplant surgeons in Turkey. Maybe 5 or 6. They're not going to be the cheapest, I'll tell you that.
Nope.
If you have the need to travel to Turkey to have a hair transplant, there are great resources. There are great clinics. Use them. I don't give a shit. That's what they're there for. Phone number is 888-659-3727. Jesus, I mean, it's like you cannot win.
Well, what do you expect? Of course you can't win. Never going to happen.
Anyway, I should just sell out. Whatever, come on board, guys. Whatever, just you're all in. All the Turks and all the Indians, welcome aboard. I was going to say the Love Boat. 888-659-3727. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from? Hey, caller, you're on the air.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, I'm Rahul from Dubai.
You're calling from Dubai. What's your name?
Rahul.
Rahul. Is that correct?
Rahul.
4:30 a.m. in Dubai. Yeah, Rahul.
Rahul. Welcome, man.
Yeah. Joe is dancing. I can see on screen.
Say it again.
It's a lag. Maybe it's a lag. Okay. So, guys, I want to discuss my current situation with you.
Okay.
So, I'm 28 years old. Okay.
Hold on. You got it. If you can speak directly into your microphone of the phone.
Okay, it's not clear.
It's a little. It sounds like you're maybe in a bathtub or something.
Or on speaker.
Okay. Hold on. I'll change my earphones. Hello?
Yeah.
Is it better? Okay.
Yes.
So, I want to discuss my current situation. I'm 28 years old. I started my medicines 2 years back, okay? I started with oral finasteride, 3 mg per week. So, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay. Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Like 3 days a week, okay? Alternate. And topical minoxidil daily. So, I got really good results, man. I got my hairline back, and for 1.5 years, then I shifted to Dubai, okay? January 2023, okay? I started getting a lot of shed.
Okay.
My minoxidil, it gave me a lot of dandruff. Not dandruff, it's like dry scalp, crazy dry scalp. So I stopped it and I switched to the foam version. I thought it will work. It won't have alcohol. So that didn't work. Like I was still losing hair. Then I contacted, a doctor from eugenics, and he suggested to go with oral minoxidil. So with oral minoxidil and daily finasteride, last 6 months I'm on, okay? So I stopped my hair loss. Now I'm getting some hair which I lost in
That's
the
great.
last 1 year, okay? But still it does not look great, and now I'm thinking of hair transplant. So yeah, I would like to get your views on my current situation. So last 6 months I am on minoxidil oral, 2.5 mg, and finasteride daily. And I'm planning to, take the plunge. What do you think?
Well, here's the thing: if you're just starting to recoup from your shed, from your telogen effluvium, you're noticing that your hair loss is stabilized, you're regrowing hair. I mean, is it possible? Like, say you got 10% more density overall and a little bit more hair back on medications. Would you be happy?
No. If I can reach my state where before I moved to Dubai, 2022, like 1 year back, I'll be happy. Because I got really good results from these medicines.
Okay, so if you can get back to where you were before your shed, before you moved.
1 year.
Yeah, in 1 year.
Yeah.
That would satisfy you.
Yes.
Okay. There's a reasonable, and again, I don't have a crystal ball, but there is reason to believe that given your current circumstances and the fact that you're responding well to medication again, that you might, and the fact that, the hair loss in those areas is relatively new, so you can still revive those hairs. There's a chance that medication is going to be a great route for you. And in another 6 months, you may be satisfied. You may be back to where you were a year ago. So instead of jumping into surgery, you may want to give it another 6 months or so and see where you stand at that point.
I agree with that because the efficacy curve on finasteride is about 2 years. So you said you've been taking it for how long? 6 months or 1 year?
Total 2 years, but the dose was different. Okay, 3 mg for 1.5 years per week, and now it's daily. Like it will be 7 mg in a week for last 6 months.
Okay, so in total, before 6 months ago, you're taking 2 milligrams every week, and now you're up to 7.
No, 3.
3 milligrams in a week. Okay. And by changing to daily, that's when you're seeing the improvement. Yeah, go ahead. That's when you're seeing the improvement because you switched to daily with finasteride?
I got really good result with 3 mg dose and topical minoxidil, but then I lost when I switched the place. I shifted to Dubai 1 year ago. So now from last 6 months, my hair loss stabilized. Okay, it was crazy shed after moving here. So now I'm regaining whatever I've lost, but it's still not recovered.
And sorry, I'm just trying to remember what you said as far as your intake. So you were doing topical minoxidil. Did you switch to oral? Did I hear that?
Yes, 2.5 mg because topical stopped working for me. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm just wondering why you had the shed to begin with. You said that it was right after you moved to Dubai?
Yes.
And where did you move from? Did you move from India?
Yes, India.
Okay. It's interesting because Indians are the most common people that tell me that when they left India, they started to lose hair. And I don't know why. Like I've heard it when they come to Canada, when they come to U.S., when they go to the U.K. They say that they've lost hair after the move, and I hear it more from people from India or that used to live in India than anyone else. So I don't know what the correlation is there, if anything. But I'm wondering if the move itself. Was there anything else in your life that you were going through that was really stressful? Other than, I'm sure the move was pretty stressful, but was there something else that was going on? Personal relationships?
He was losing his hair, dude. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I know. Anything else that may have caused like some stress?
Nothing really. It's just a job is, it has a lot of responsibilities and stressful, but nothing personal, Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, moving can be a big deal. So I'm just throwing this out there. Like maybe you had this big shed because of the stress involved with the move. It's completely different. Well, it's not completely different in Dubai than India, but it's still stressful.
Yeah.
So coincidences, I don't really believe in them very much. I think there was some sort of tie-in with that. So your recovery is a mixture of maybe switching to oral minoxidil, which is probably pretty likely, and you recovering from the increased cortisol levels in your system from the stress of moving. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. I don't like to talk about treating the symptoms of a problem without actually getting down to what the problem is itself, like what caused the shed.
Yeah, Joe, I'll tell you,
so
I got my blood test last, around a few months back, and I connected with the doctor, and he told me that cortisol levels are a little bit high. He told me, when I moved, around 6 months back, That could be a reason.
Dude, I wake up in a panic every day. My cortisol is through the roof. Maybe my body's used to it. I don't know.
Yeah, could be. But and when you had your blood work done, was everything else okay? Like your vitamins, your hormones, everything that people look.
Everything was good. Yeah.
Okay.
Really good.
Okay. Well,
you know what? Around 970. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. You're a beefy young man. Good for you. It sounds
Dude, this
like
guy's guy's holding wet towels in the morning.
I'm telling you. And do you take creatine? That's the question.
No.
I'm just joking. All right. Well, it sounds pretty reasonable what you're doing to address the issue. You had some blood work done. That's good. I think that you're on the path to at least some degree of recovery, as you've already confirmed you are. I think what Spencer said is spot on. Give it more time. Like right now, if you're to book with eugenics, you're probably not going to be able to get a surgery for several months anyway. But don't be in a rush to actually book surgery. Just, let this continue to do what it's going to do. Give it at least another 6 months. And you got an increased dosage of finasteride. You've changed from topical to oral minoxidil. I think both of those are good moves. Give it at least 6 more months and then make a decision on what you want to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
That's safe. That's a safe way.
I have a feeling
one more
that
thing.
given what you've described, that you may be able to avoid surgery. But whatever, it's up to you.
Okay.
All right, brother.
So do you think?
Go ahead. Sorry.
Just the last question.
Sure.
What are your views on Dr. Labo in Thailand?
Doctor who?
I don't really have. I don't have much of a view on him just because I haven't looked very closely. What
What's
I've
his name,
seen,
Joe? I didn't hear the name.
Dr. Larwong.
Laurong. That's right. Yeah, Dr. Laurong.
Larwong, yeah.
He's not applied to the
limited,
IHRS, so I don't know.
The limited amount of visibility effort I've given to look at his work, it looked fine. I didn't pick it apart. I didn't spend much time on it, but nothing jumped out as being bad. But I don't know really anything about him.
First of all, if you're considering surgery, I would say that you seem to be talking to a good place right now. I'm not telling you where to go to, but you seem like you've somehow luckily zeroed in on a good facility.
You heard the name Spencer?
My name? Yes, my name is Spencer.
No. Did you heard the name of surgeon?
Yes, I did. That's why I asked you to repeat it. And I have really no information except I have read good things. He has never applied to the IHRS. I don't have any access to patients. So, which is pretty unusual. Almost, I would say, well, now it's not that unusual. But at least until about 5 years ago, almost any well-known name has applied to the IHRS. They haven't gotten in.
Dr. Dan McGrath in the chat room says Dr. Laurong is super aggressive. If you watch his surgery he did on famous YouTuber Tony Huge, who I watch on my own time, he did a very poor job. I don't know. I can't comment on that, so I don't know. But Dr. McGrath has spoken. Thank you for your comment, Doc. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Doc.
All right, brother.
Okay, that answers my question.
Yeah, don't try to stay away from the guys on YouTube if you can, especially the guys that are doing the influencers. In my view, it normally doesn't work out.
Except
well.
us.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I'm saying the guys that are the TikTok docs and the guys that are really pushing the influencers. I've seen a lot of, let's just say, I could say inappropriate stuff, just concessions that were made in order to perform the surgery on that particular patient in order to get the views. It's usually not a good thing.
Yeah.
All right, brother?
Yeah, that answers my question.
Okay, take care.
Thank you, Spencer.
All right.
Good luck.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks
Goodbye.
for calling.
I'll
Bye,
keep
Rahul.
calling you guys.
Sure.
Yeah.
Cheers. Yeah, thank you.
And normally I would probably state, I would look at things with a jaundiced eye, like, awards from websites and shit like that. But, this is a fucked up industry. So even some good doctors want to pimp what I would consider to be nonsense. There's one doctor that's still pimping, what was that award that was given out like 20 years ago by that website?
Oh, the Patient's Choice Award?
Patient's Choice Award it's this little cheap statue. And that's like, it's like, come on, people. Come
That's
on.
not even the original one. The original one was broken.
Really?
So they had to order a new one themselves.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, or so I heard.
So I heard.
Not making accusations. But I remember when it was done. Anyway.
Award winning.
Yeah, everyone think. Yeah, award winning. It's it's a funny thing. It's like, it always reminds me of in Seattle, there's a famous fish joint, kind of like a local chain called Ivers. And they're always pimping their award-winning clam chowder, and it is a good clam chowder. But I've always wondered, what award? Like, what does that even mean? Award-winning. Who gave you the award? What was it for?
My first year.
When was the voting?
My first year in this industry, the book really took off, and it was like maybe my third year. I had just founded the IHRS. So I was getting a lot of, hoopla, a lot of hate. A lot of people were upset. There were website owners who were losing their effing minds, doctors, ISHRS at the time, Dow Stow, who we've since, become friendly to some degree. He's not a bad guy at all, but he lost his effing mind, man, when I founded the IHRS. Lost his mind. He also lost his mind when the book came out, originally The Bald Truth. Long story short, I had contacted his office and said that I was writing a book and I wanted to interview him because, he was a name in the field, and I spoke to Otar Norwood and everybody else. He won't remember this, or maybe he will. He told me, listen, when you get a publisher, call me. It's like,
yeah.
Basically, you hung up on me. Like, you don't have a publisher there? I'm like, I'm writing the book now. I'm putting all my notes together. I'd like you to be involved. And you know what I did? Told him to go F himself at the end. I left him out of the book. But he called me once the book became a bestseller, and he told me, and this is the truth, Dal, this is true, that I rewrote the history of hair transplant surgery. He was appalled. Appalled.
Damn you, Cobrin.
You know who is receptive? Bob Bernstein and Bill Raspin. Very receptive to be interviewing them and talking about them and learning about follicular unit transplantation back in the day. Bob let me in his office. Yeah. This is when he was living above his shop back in the day in New Jersey. That's how old I am. That book changed, in my view, it not only changed the field, it changed their lives. Dow was very upset. From what I remember, look, I could be wrong, Dow. Maybe it was somebody else who called me. I don't know. Trying to figure out why I'm making that point. We're talking about awards. We're talking about website awards. We're talking about all the bullshit that goes on in the field. Oh, so my very first few years, the Italian Society of Hair Restoration Surgeons or Surgery, and now it's called something else or whatever, they reached out to me, sent me this beautiful email inviting me to Italy to accept the Michelangelo Award. I was voted in by my peers, apparently, to get this award. I had to contact them and say, I'm not a doctor, right? Now, I should have gone and accepted the award. But back then, I was kind of like public enemy number one. I was like, I don't know if I want to go to this meeting.
I would have been on the next plane.
Then I'm contacted by a company, and they sent me this form to fill out and said that I was I was also elected by my peers to be a top, was it cosmetic surgeon? Anyway, it was one of the top doc awards.
Yeah.
In one of these like magazine type things. And I was elected to do that. All I had to do was fill out this form, pay this fee, and I would have gotten the plaque, the top doc plaque.
Would you gotten the cover?
Oh, the cover, that's a different thing. But I would have gotten one of those awards that I could put on my wall like everybody else. Top doc, top doc. No less than 5 companies have contacted me. Maybe more, actually, now that I think about it. There's one recently that contacted me to be either a top doc plastic surgeon, hair transplant surgeon, cosmetic surgeon. And part of me regrets not paying the money and just having those awards back here.
Yeah. Behind you on camera. That'd be the best.
I'm a top doc
we'll
too.
Start every show with, every day I look at this and I'm thankful for everyone that voted for me. Thank you. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't because of you. And you know
I got some award from the aesthetic everything, I think it's called. That one I got. That was online. And a lot of people use that. But I think the thing I'm most proud of, is the Lifetime Achievement Award that John Cole gave me from FUE Europe in 2018.
Yes, I would be too.
Now, I'm not saying I don't deserve it. Because I do. However, the circumstances...
Yeah, a bad man. You are a bad man, period.
Exactly. The circumstances in which I received that award were effing hilarious. Guys, I'll take your calls in a second. 888-659-3727. After he publicly tried to destroy my reputation and your reputation, because he's not going to like this, but because of his removal from the IHRS, and we started to talk again. I was like, yeah, sure, come on, you can come back on board. No hard feelings, whatever. He writes me, he's like, I want to award, I want to give you the first Lifetime Achievement Award from FUE Europe. And he wrote this incredible speech, man, that's still online, that I changed the field, that if it wasn't for me, there would be no FUE. That it was because of me that he chose to take a closer look at this and really focus on developing this technique. That I changed the entire field for the better. That I was a very important player. All of that happy horse shit.
If it wasn't for you, he wouldn't have invented FUE.
Basically, that's hilarious. If it wasn't for me, he wouldn't have invented FUE in 1991.
After he invented his own tools.
Yeah, 7 years before I wrote the book.
When he was working for Matt
Levitt.
Matt Levitt at MHR.
I don't even think he was. I think he was working. He was working for NHI, maybe in '94, but whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it wasn't for me, he would not have invented the first tools for FUE in 1991. That is hilarious, man. It's fucking wild, really, when you listen to that shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I guess what we're telling you is it's nice to get awards. And I think in my particular situation, that was a well-deserved award, and I appreciate having the statue and all that stuff. But in general, at least in this field, a lot of it's just bullshit. Who do you think gets the Golden Follicle Awards? Think about that. Golden Follicle and Platinum Follicle. The best doctors or the best politicians? I don't know. You let me know. But in our current world, and the way the industry has devolved, it's all meaningless. And that's something that you guys need to understand. 888-659-3727. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Yes, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. This is Alex from Costa Rica.
Alex, welcome, man.
Hello, Alex.
How's the weather in Costa Rica?
Oh, it's really good. It's really warm today.
I mean, I think about like moving down there. That's where like a lot of old sexual refugees go.
That's right. It is.
What's happening?
Good night.
Good night. Good night. Hi. Well, you guys, I've been a fan of you guys for a while now. I've been following you and seeking your advice. I've interacted with you in the chat before, but this is my first time calling.
Well, welcome, man.
Thanks. Well, I've been looking into getting a hair transplant for a while now as well. I'm an Norwood 3 currently, but I still haven't had any loss in the crown area, so only the front of my head.
You're lucky. How old are you? How old did you say you were? Or did you?
Oh, well, I just turned 29.
29. Okay. So that's, I mean, that's young, but you're not super young. So the fact that you only have some recession in your hairline, you're pretty good.
Yeah, in my donor area, it's pretty dense. I have a lot of hair there, so that is good. I've been to a couple of clinics before because, as you guys say, you have to look out for the best clinic that you can find. You don't have to settle for the first one or the cheapest.
That's right.
Yeah, so I downloaded the questions that you have on your website that you have to take and ask the surgeons.
Wow, you're like the 10th person who did that, right, Joe? I'm just kidding. The fact that Joe put that on his website, I thought that was brilliant, actually.
Yeah, same. Because well, I don't know, when I'm with a surgeon, I get very nervous and I forget all my questions. So taking the paper with me, it was very helpful.
And that's also what the pills are for. But I'm glad you have the paper.
Yeah,
I need to revise that, by the way. But thank you for acknowledging that. I appreciate that.
Sure thing. They were very helpful. I definitely gained a lot from having them. So, well, my thing is, I first looked into getting a transplant here in Costa Rica. But first of all, the prices are not that nice. They are, well, it isn't that they are nice, but rather they are pretty similar to those in the U.S.
Well, you know, Costa Rica, as you know, I mean, if you are going to be a sexual refugee, that's the place to go for healthcare too. They have a really good healthcare system.
Yeah, that's true. It is a pretty good one. But for private matters like a hair transplant, I were screwed.
Yeah.
Because they charge in dollars, but we don't earn the money in dollars, right? So it is a bit difficult. So I went to Colombia a couple of months ago and had a consultation in... Right. I had a consultation with, the same clinic that I had a consultation with Costa Rica, DHI, I think it's the name.
DHI in Colombia?
Yes, and in Costa Rica as well. But I had a consultation here, and then I went there.
All right, so just so you know, your phone is, you sound like you're on a speaker, and it's kind of a little difficult to hear you.
Oh, really? Hold on. Is this any better?
Much better.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well done.
Yeah, I wasn't on a speaker. All right. So, yes, I had a consultation here in Costa Rica with DHI, but I wasn't too pleased with the whole thing. So I went to Colombia and I had another consultation there, and I was pretty happy with everything, but I don't know. There were a couple of things that I wasn't too keen of. For example, I wasn't seen by the actual doctor that was going to do my transplant. I didn't like that. the people that saw me, like, they were technicians and another doctor, but not the one that was going to perform the surgery. And hold on, let me see. Yeah, they said that they could. Hold on, I have the paperwork with me. Here it is. So they said they could transplant like 4,000 to 5,000 follicles.
In your hairline?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to my hairline.
That's the magic number, yo.
Yeah. And it was in dollars. It was something around $3,000, if I'm not.
Well, if you were actually getting 4,000 grafts and needed it, and they were grafts that were extracted properly, that weren't denuded or transected, and actually everything grew and were placed at the right angles and direction and all that stuff, and you needed it, then that's a good deal. However, if you're 29 years old with just a receding hairline and you don't need 4,000 grafts, and you go into a clinic that's willing to give you 4,000 grafts for $3,000, and saying that you need 4,000 grafts to be placed in your hairline, then it doesn't sound like a good deal to me.
No. Yeah, that I was.
Sounds like it could be a lifetime of misery.
Right. I actually needed some advice on that because it sounded too good to be good. So too good to be true. And
it is.
Yeah, and well, you in Colombia everything is very, very freaking cheap. Like, but it is still too good to be true. And but I really liked the results they were showing me. They had a really nice result, and I actually talked to the doctor, and they told me they could maybe do 3,000. And the hairline they drew on me, it was nice. It wasn't too low or anything. It was really nice. So, yeah, I think I'm going to keep looking, though. But I was okay with this one as well.
Okay, well, you sound like a really nice guy, so I'm going to let Joe hurt your feelings on this one.
I missed the transition from the estimate of 4,000 grafts to the 3,000 grafts. What happened? What happened in between? What did I miss?
Oh no! I talked about maybe having less grafts, and they say that it was okay, but nothing else.
Okay, and you did finally talk to the doctor that would be doing the surgery, or it was still a different doctor?
A different one.
Okay. Well, okay. I won't say that's the first red flag, but I think that if you're going to, did you go from Costa Rica to Colombia? Did you hop on a plane and go there for the consultation?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, if you're hopping on a plane and going to a different country for a consultation, it's common courtesy for the doctor that's doing the surgery to actually sit his ass down or her ass down in front of you and talk to you. I mean, you're going through all that effort to let them talk you into giving you money or giving them money. That's
right.
Yeah, that kind of irritates me. The second thing is the doctor that did the evaluation for you. That's one thing, but the other doctor that's actually doing the surgery may have a completely different take on your surgery. They may have a different opinion. So while one, and this is assuming that your best interest is in mind when they're doing the consultation and not their financial best interest. So you go into a clinic and the doctor says, "Oh yeah, 4,000. Oh, you want less? Okay, we can do 3,000." The first question you got to ask is why? Why did you just change the number based on me just wanting less grafts? Like, what's the result going to be like compared to what you originally said? But the second thing is, if the doctor is actually doing the surgery were to come in, they may say no. we only need 2,500 grafts. Again, if they have your best interest in mind, not their financial best interest. So those are two big red flags there. I don't know. I think that based on the limited amount of information that you've presented, I think that you should keep looking.
All right, I will. I appreciate it because you guys are really good at this. I hadn't think about it like that, so I appreciate it. I will keep looking.
Well,
I definitely will.
I mean, think about it. Think about it when they give you an assessment. Like I assume that you already told them what your concerns were, what your wishes were, what your observations were about your own hair loss, and what your goals are, and they came out with that number, 4,000 grafts. And you said, well, that's a little bit more than I can afford. How about if we do less grafts? And they were like, boom, no problem, sure. We'll do, 25% less. Why? Like, how's that going to affect the result that they just told you would be, like, they gave you a number that would make a lot of sense for your needs, but then they just reduced it by a quarter to meet your financial needs instead of your cosmetic needs. What's different?
Right.
How are they going to approach your surgery? Are they giving you any sort of caveats that, okay, we can do less, but we can't go as far back into your hairline, or we can't bring your hairline down as low? Like, did they explain what the difference would be?
Yeah, they actually did. They told me that. Yeah, they told me they could put it back a little further and keep the density.
Okay, but if you're just doing hairline work, which 4,000 grafts is a lot of grafts for hair. 3,000 grafts is a lot of grafts for hairline work. So did they?
Well,
they
it's
put
not
you,
only the hairline.
Okay, did they give you a classification on the Norwood scale, like a Norwood 3, Norwood 3V, 3A?
I don't quite remember. They did, but I don't remember. Let me see if it is here in the paperwork.
You take notes. That's good.
Yeah, I did. Hold on, let me see.
Like, and while you're searching for that. They didn't give that to you. Okay. Yeah. No. Look, the great thing about being where you are in Costa Rica, like, there may not be some clinics in Costa Rica that you're crazy about, but you do have some options to consider without actually having to leave your immediate area. There's a really good doctor in what's it called? Dominican Republic.
Oh.
Which isn't too far from you. Okay.
Right.
Dr. Alba Reyes. Dr. Alba Reyes, she's an IAHRS member. You can go to iahrs.org and you can find her. I don't work with her. I know her. I know she does good work. And I think that they would approach your case in a way that you'll feel better about.
Okay, good to know.
They're a bit more comprehensive. I think that's a better place to consider, among others. It doesn't need to be the only one that you consider. But
if you're looking for someplace in the Caribbean and someplace that's relatively inexpensive, comparatively, they're still not super cheap. I mean, they charge for where they are. It's very reasonable. I think that's a good suggestion, Joe.
Yeah. There's also, just to be fair to everyone, there's also a clinic in Colombia that you could consider. Dr. Yemi Alvarez. She's in Boqueria. I forgot what it's on the northeast coast. I forgot the name of the city.
I think she's doing. I think she's doing all handheld now. She got rid of her robot.
Robot. Yeah, she doesn't use the robot anymore.
She sold that online for parts.
Yeah, for parts. Yeah, I mean, she seems to be doing some good work, and I know she's a hell of a nice lady. She really cares about her patients. She got her training in the U.S., so she's someone that you could talk to as well. No affiliation whatsoever. I just know her through, like, I met her once a year and a half ago, and we've talked quite a bit. She's not even an IHRS member.
She applied for the IHRS, never finished her application process.
Yeah.
Okay. I will.
But the
I'm going
point
to
being,
look her up.
there's no financial arrangement between any of us. So just a good name to consider.
Okay, I will.
All right.
All right.
All right, brother. Good luck, man. Enjoy
Good luck.
Costa Rica.
Thank you.
All right.
Another question. Another quick question. Do you guys know if with oral minoxidil, there is a lot of body hair growth?
Yes, there can be.
There can be.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just wanted to know.
Why, have you noticed any?
No, I haven't noticed, but I don't want to grow too much hair where I don't want it.
Dude, in my case,
so,
I'm like a 12-year-old Asian kid, so I could definitely use a little bit. So.
Well, I don't want it, so
Yeah.
trying not to get it. I only wanted to. Sorry, I didn't say anything. I only want it in the top of my head, not in the rest of my body.
No, I totally get that. But, I tell you what, it's a lot easier to remove hair than to grow hair.
Right.
So.
Definitely.
All right. Good luck, man.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Take care.
Keep it up.
Bye-bye.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
I love when, great call, by the way, very complimentary. And I love at the end when they keep it up, keep up fighting, don't give up, Spence, don't retire. I don't think these guys have any idea what we deal with.
No. God bless him.
I mean, even this, and it doesn't piss me off, but even this one guy that says, I'm going to unfollow you, this hair transplant surgeon. How about if you want to be in this field, if you really want to be in this field, take note. Watch what we're doing. If you're good, get involved with what we're doing. Because you want to separate yourselves from these butchers. Don't take offense because we're telling the truth. It's always been a downfall of these docs. What was that?
He's probably one of these doctors that says that got some sort of question from someone online. What do you think about Coburn bashing Turkey? And then one post or something was shared, and he's like, "Damn you, Coburn! I'm going to unfollow you," without actually knowing the full story.
I had a conversation with somebody today who said that there's some doctors who have attempted to write articles about what they're seeing, and they all of a sudden got some bad reviews, and they're concerned that that they're going to be coming at people are going to come after them. I'm like, that's my forte, man. People have been coming after me since the beginning of time.
Come on.
Well, it's kind of like I don't sell anything. Anybody who here's what happens. I mean, anytime someone's ever tried to come after me, more people view our content, more people contact me. I make more money in the long run anyway. Anytime someone has tried to harm me, I've done better. It's like, all right, it's almost like, okay, I got to deal with some crazy doctor. Right, maybe I'll slap him with a online defamation suit and ensure that he's now essentially doing assessments for insurance companies and no longer practicing. Because that's very real. That happened. But because I chose to do that during that particular time, it kind of upped my value in the eyes of not only the consumer, but in the industry. My defense on everything is truth. That's the absolute defense. And it's a lot of smart, as much as I say, guys, wake up, don't be stupid. As many people who are desperate and falling for all this nonsense out there, there's a lot of critical thinkers as well that find our content. And they're like, all right. Or they may read something on some forum that says, oh, Spencer's just in this for the money and he makes millions of dollars a year doing this and he doesn't give a shit about anybody. And then they actually check me out on Instagram or watch this podcast a few times and they're like, that doesn't really jibe with who these guys are. It's just free publicity, man.
That's right. It's just free, man.
It's all free. I'll write this guy back
and
and
it's
tell him
all good.
And I'll write this guy back and tell him to chill, and we'll become friends. And he'll ask me a million questions about some nonsense, and I'll have to block him. But whatever.
I like the whole from beginning to end.
That's how it works with me. Anytime I open up a door with somebody online, next thing you know, they want me to meet their sister.
Yeah. I can see that.
It's the way it is.
The one in.
All right, let's call it a night, guys. I'm so glad that Dr. Ken Anderson and Dr. Dan McGrath, both accepted IHS members and longtime friends of The Bald Truth, decided to hang out in the chat room, which is unusual.
It was cool, yeah.
I think your chat's doing better, man. I'm noticing that... when you have like 75 concurrent viewers, I told you, I watch people have 1 million followers or subscribers, and they do a live stream. They have maybe 200 concurrent viewers.
Yeah.
So for your subscriber base, the concurrent viewers on your live stream is unbelievable.
Pretty strong.
It's unbelievable. You're welcome, by the way. No, it's really good. And I'm glad you're doing your show, the main event, again. I think it really adds value to people. That it's well needed.
Well, thank you. It's tough just because of the time involved in making it happen. But I got some doctors I'll be interviewing. I know I've been getting a lot of questions when that's going to happen again. So it's very soon. But that's that show. On this show, hit the like button. We got some good likes going, but we could use more. Let's trigger that algorithm. Hit the like button.
If you think about how many hundreds of people came in and out of the show today, and you have 49 likes, that's ridiculous.
I know. People always want something for free. They don't want to get back with a click.
Look, what I've learned in my life and in my career, but it's still important that we do this for free, is sometimes when stuff is free, when there's no ask at any time, people just see less value in it.
Yeah.
But if you put up a store or some sort of a shop and you're talking about specific products, whatever it is, they're all in, man. They're all in.
Thank you for the hearts. The hearts are flying in the chat room. I hope those translate to likes because that actually means more. But thank you. maybe the hearts do mean something. I don't know, but it's nice to see. Appreciate everyone with the likes. Some asshole disliked it. What? Oh no, they took it off. Okay, good. Thank you.
Dislikes don't show up, do they?
On my end, it does.
Oh, well,
I can see it.
You got a lot of haters out there, dude. Come on.
It looks like they changed it to a like, so it must have said something that they liked. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right.
A lot of people in the industry and not in the industry who have been conned by the industry, they don't like the truth.
Thank you, Tekken Maine. He says, now it's me. Thank you. Appreciate your support. Yeah,
49.
Don't like the truth.
That is pathetic. All right, guys, listen.
54.
All right, good. All right, guys, we're going to call it a day. I'm going to go get some dinner. And I'll be avoiding the seed oils, Dr. McGrath. I'm mostly seed oil and low carb, mostly. If I decide to go out and tie one on, then all bets are off.
I tied one on at a hockey game the other night. Oh my God. It was bad.
I haven't had a drink in a long time, but I know that I'm not going to tell you when, but I'm redoing the entire rig. Andrew Zarian is coming out here from the guys from Queens Network, but really famously from Mad Men podcast, coming out here to help me, or to basically do it, completely rebuild my rig. I'm ordering all the new equipment this week. So there's a strong possibility of at least one drunk evening.
I think that's unavoidable at this point.
It's avoidable if I really chose to avoid it. But
hydrate.
The way that I feel about it is,
hydrate.
If it's only like once or twice a year,
it's fine.
Not only do I deserve it, but my body really handles it. It's a lot different than, doing it once a month. Or actually, there's a time I was drinking like on Friday night, man. I used to drink just on Sundays when I was doing the show on radio. I would just drink on Sundays. After the show, Sundays, after the studio, we'd all go to the bar. And it was a lot of fun. Those were good days.
That's not a bad plan.
Yeah,
the thing is, a bar to open up nearby.
But basically, we do the show. You're in Vancouver. I'm in Los Angeles. I turn off this camera, and it's fucking crickets.
My dog is usually waiting for me outside the door. Yeah. It's like, at least someone loves me. Yeah.
I tell you, it was a lot. It was something to. I mean, I look forward to doing the show, but when the show was on the radio and I was doing it at Westwood One or when I was on WABC, wherever, going into the studio was a lot of fun. You'd see a lot of like well-known personalities. I would hang out with I would stand outside once in a while with like Adam Carolla. He was doing Nightline with Nightline. What is it called? The show with Dr. Drew.
Nightline?
No, it wasn't Nightline. It was the sex show, whatever, with Dr. Drew.
Yeah, exactly.
So when I would go off the air, they would go on the air. So I would come out for a break and whatever, and they'd be doing things outside. But it was fun, and we'd go out and go to the bar, and it was a different time. You don't have to worry about people commenting on your shit. Loveline. You turn on the radio, the mic, thousands upon thousands of people would listen. You turn it off, and that's it. You did your show. Now you got to put segments up, and I don't even put up podcasts, which I guess I should, but it's just like, let Joe do it.
I got enough to do.
No, but you're doing it, just recording the show on your stream. I just record the live stream. I'm not even putting this out in podcasts, which we could. To me, if I'm going to be candid, the more I'm out there online, the more of a pain in the ass it is. This is enough, people. But I guess that's going to change this year without even us trying. So a lot of great things happening in 2024, people. You will all be made privy. Until next time, be strong, God bless, and thank you so much for listening. Take care.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the programme, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the exits at the rear, that'd be splendid. Thank you. Good night.